Good day, everyone. So for today's video, we'll be discussing the continuation of compound interest. So this is a compound interest part 2. Okay pa? So there are problems that compound interest has been divided into several conversion periods. So we are not just compounding once a year. Okay? 'Di ba tulad ng diniscuss natin, nung dinifferentiate natin si simple and compound, si compound kino-compute siya every year. Okay po? Pero may problems na what if the interest is compounded more than once a year? Okay, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So let us have first a review of the formula in getting the maturity value of a compound interest, to which the future value is equal to the principal multiplied by 1 plus the rate raised to time, to which P is the principal, R is the rate, T is the time or the term. Okay po? So in dealing with problems to which the interest is compounded more than once a year, let's say for example, meron kang tatlong your time is 3 years. Pero ang nakalagay dun sa problem, it is compounded semi-annually. Okay? Semi-annually. And then your rate would be, let's say for example, 2%. Okay? So, paano po ito? So, yung rate na sinasabi natin is yung rate ng buong taon. That is 2%. Pero, kapag sinabi natin compounded semi-annually, ibig sabihin, ilang semi-annual ba meron sa isang taon? Meron tayong dalawa. So, yung isang semi-annual, meron siyang duration na 6 months. So, the first 6 months, kukomputin yung interest, and then on the second 6 months, kukomputin ulit. So, compounding more than once a year. So, paano po mangyayari yun? Ibig sabihin, kung meron kang isang buong taon, let's say for example, ito yung isang buong taon mo, from 0 to 1, kapag kinompound natin siya semi-annually, meron po siya dito sa kalahati. Magko-compute ka dito sa kalahati. Pero ang rate mo ay 2%. Yung rate mo is 2% ng buong taon. So, ibig sabihin, ang magiging rate ng isang conversion na tinatawag natin is 1%, at yung another semi-annual would be another 1%. So, ganitong problems na po yung itatakal natin ngayon. Okay? Again, we'll be talking about and we'll be discussing compound interest more than once a year. Okay? So, let us have the definition of terms. When we say frequency of conversion, pag sinabing frequency, gano'ng kadalas? Okay? It's the number of conversion period in 1 year. So, it is denoted by letter M, small letter M. There are cases, kasi dun sa previous discussions natin, lagi natin ginagamit annually. Okay? Annually or yearly or per annum. Kapag sinabing ganyan, ibig sabihin kada isang taon. Pero meron pa rin tayong ibang conversion. Pwedeng semi-annually, kung saan kapag sinabi nating semi-annual, yung magiging M natin would be 2 kasi dalawang kalahating taon meron sa isang taon. Okay po? Pwede din namang tawagin natin quarterly. Okay? Pag sinabi natin quarterly, ilang quarter ba meron sa isang taon? Kumbaga sa isang basketball game, how many quarters do we have in one basketball game? So, we have 4 quarters in a year. Okay po? And pwede din naman natin sabihin na compounded siya monthly. Okay? Paano pag compounded monthly? Ilang months ba meron sa isang taon? We have 12. So, ibig sabihin, yung letter M mo is 12. Kapag annual, sinabi natin annual, the value of M is 1. Okay? So, that is your frequency of conversion. So, how do we determine the total number of conversion periods? So, yung conversion periods na tinatawag natin yung haba kada conversion. Okay? We denote the total number of conversion periods by small letter n. So, paano po natin siya nakukuha? That is simply multiplying frequency of conversion multiplied by the time in years. Okay, so let us have an example. Suppose your time is 3 years. Pero, yung sa example natin kanina, pero ang sabi, compounded semi-annually. Okay? Paano po yan? So, let's say for example, this is our time. So, this is 0. This would be our first year, second year, and then we have third year. So, your time is 3. Pero semi-annual. So, ibig sabihin, yung isang taon, i-divide natin sa kalahati. So, we have 1, 2, 3. So, how many conversion periods do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, we have 6 conversion periods. So, makukuha lang natin yan by simply, para mas madali, your frequency of conversion, sabi natin semi-annual, meaning 2, and then your time is 3. So, we have 2 times 3, that would be 6. So, the total number of conversions would be 6. Okay po? Next is what we so-called the nominal rate. When we say nominal rate, it is the rate at the annual rate of interest. Yung pinag-usapan natin kanina na rate sa isang buong taon. Okay, ito po yung R dun sa previous discussions natin. Ito po yung R. Pinalitan lang natin siya ng I raised to M. Okay, para maano natin siya that is the nominal rate. Okay po? And then, yung gagawin nating rate ngayon would be denoted by letter J. Okay po? It is the rate per conversion period. Tulad ng problem natin kanina, sabi natin, yung rate natin kanina is 2%. So, that is just for 1 year. Yun yung 2% natin. Pero pag sinabi natin, that would be our nominal rate. Pero pag sinabi natin rate, is the rate per conversion period. So, ano po yung magiging rate ng isang conversion period? So, i-divide natin siya into what? Into the frequency of conversion. So, if this is 2 sa isang taon, semi-annual, that's 2% divided by 2, that becomes 1%. And for us to get J, that is simply I raised to M over M, or the annual rate of interest over the frequency of conversion. Okay po? So, ganun po natin siya kunin. Okay. Next would be the formula na in getting our future value or maturity value. So, we have F equals P times 1 plus J raised to N. So, kung mapapansin ninyo, may kamukha siya, di ba? That is F equals P times 1 plus R raised to T. So, pinalitan lang po natin. To which, paano natin makukuha ulit si N? Si J. So, si J is the rate per conversion period. That is I sub M or I raised to M, which is our nominal rate, over the frequency of conversion, which is M. So, that is J equals I raised to M over M. And N is obtained by multiplying your frequency of conversion with that of the time. So, we have total number of conversion periods, that is N equals M times T. Okay po, so ganun lang po kasimple. So, hindi naman po nabago yung formula natin. Minodify lang natin siya in a way na makakapag-convert tayo or makakapag-compute tayo with regards to the conversion periods that we are pertaining to. So, let us have examples. Sige. Sabi dyan, find the maturity value and the interest if 50,000 pesos is deposited in a bank at 2%, 2.5% compounded quarterly for 9 years. Okay? So, ang hinahanap natin is the maturity value, which is F, and sabi dyan, the interest. So, we have the compound interest na hinahanap natin. So, what are the given? So, we have 50,000 pesos, which will be our principal. So, the principal would be 50,000 pesos. And then, sabi dyan, is deposited in a bank at 2.5%. So, sino po si 2.5%? So, si 2.5% na tinatawag natin would be our nominal rate. Okay? So, that is I raised to M. Okay po? So, that is I raised to M. Then, we have, sabi dyan, compounded quarterly. Paano pag sinabi natin compounded quarterly? So, yung M natin or the frequency of conversion, sabi dyan is quarterly. So, sulat natin quarterly. To which, anong value ni quarterly? That would be 4. Okay po? Sabi dyan, and our time would be what? 9 years. Okay. And we will now be proceeding with our formula. So that would be F equals P times 1 plus J raised to N. Para hindi po tayo malito, kunin muna natin si J. Okay, kunin muna natin si J. At sabi natin sa pagkuha ni J, that is I raised to M over M. And what is our I raised to M? Sabi natin dyan is 2.5%, to which kapag kinonvert natin yan into decimal, that is 1, 2. So we have 0.025. So we have 0.025 divided by our frequency of conversion, that is 4. So we have to divide it by 4. Hence, the value of our J would be what? That would be, so using our calculator, that is 0.025 divided by 4, kasi quarterly. So that would be 0. So that is 6.25 times 10 raised to negative 3. So that is 0.00625. Okay po? So this will be our value of J. And then, ano pang kulang natin? The value of our N. Okay? So we first get the value of N, that is N equals the frequency of conversion times the time. And our frequency of conversion, tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, is 4. That is 4 multiplied by the time, which is 9 years. Okay po? Hence, our total number of conversion periods would be 4 times 9. That would be 36. So, ibig sabihin, 36 na beses tayo magkakaroon ng conversion periods. Okay po? So, by this, we will now have our we may now compute for the future value. So that is future value equals P times 1 plus J raised to N. And our principal, tulad ng sinabi natin dyan, we have 50,000 multiplied by 1 plus the value of our J, that is 0.00625. So 0.00625. And our N is 36. So we have to multiply it with 36. Okay? So we first simplify this. Yung nasa loob ng parenthesis, we have 50,000. We have 50,000 multiplied by 1.00625. Ay, sorry, not multiplied pala to, sorry. Hindi po ito multiplication, but this is our exponent, sorry, that would be 36. Okay, so raised to 36. And then, we simplify the expression with, or the value with exponent. So we have 50,000 multiplied by, so that is 1.00625 raised to what? Raised to 36. And that will yields to 1.251446136. So, wag muna nating i-delete ito. Straight natin, i-multiply si 50,000. So, that will yields to, our future value would be 62,572.31, rounded up to the nearest hundreds. So, ibig sabihin, our future value would be 62,572.31. Okay po? And sabi dyan, find the maturity value and interest. So, hahanapin pa natin si interest. So, in getting the interest, we have I sub C equals future value minus the principal. So, we have 62,572.31 minus the principal, which is 50,000. So, we would have, using our calculator, we would have, so minus 50,000. So we have 12,572.31. So ito po yung interest na na-earn nung nag-deposit ka sa bank, which pays 2.5% compounded quarterly for 9 years. And that's how we solve for compound interest, given that we are compounding more than once a year. Okay, so let us have another example para mas mag-practice tayo. Okay, suppose we have the problem, Ruby borrows 48,000 pesos and promises to pay the principal and interest at 9% compounded monthly. How much must she repay after 4 years? Okay? So, kung si Ruby ay nag-borrow ng 48,000 pesos, ibig sabihin, ang principal natin is 48,000. And then, promises to pay the principal and interest at 9%. At 9%. So, si 9% would be our nominal rate. Okay po, that would be our nominal rate. That is 9%. To which, kapag kinonvert natin siya into decimal, we have 1, 2. So, that is equivalent to 0.09. Okay? 9% compounded monthly. So, kapag compounded monthly, our conversion or frequency of conversion would be monthly, to which it is equivalent to, pag monthly, we have 12 because we have 12 months in a year. So, how much must she repay after 4 years? So, our time would be what? 4 years. Okay po? So, we will now have our formula in getting, sabi dyan, ano bang hinahanap? How much must she repay after 4 years? So, we are after the future value. So, we have F equals what? P times 1 plus J raised to N. Okay po? But since wala pa tayong J at N, computin muna natin si J. So, J is equal to the nominal rate divided by the frequency of conversion. So, we have our nominal rate, which is 0.09, divided by our frequency of conversion, we have 12. So, the value of J would be, using our calculator, so that is 0.09 divided by 12. That is 7.5 times 10 raised to negative 3. That is 0.0075. Okay po? Next is the value of our N. And we obtain the value of N, or the total number of conversion periods, by multiplying the frequency of conversion at saka yung time. So, yung value ng M natin ay 12 multiplied by the time, which is 4 years. So, the value of N, that would be 12 times 4, which is 48. So, ito yung value ni J, ito yung value ni N. So, we may now proceed with the computation of the maturity value or the future value. So, we have F equals P times 1 plus J raised to N. So, we have P, our principal is 48,000. And then, we have the value of J, 0.0075. And then, our value of N, which is 48. Okay, so we have 48,000 times 1 plus 0.0075 raised to 48. So, simplify muna natin ito. We have 48,000 multiplied by 1.0075 raised to 48. And then we simplify yung may exponent. So, we have 48,000 multiplied by, so siya ay 1.0075 raised to 48. So that would be 1.43, 1.43140533. And then, straight natin siyang i-multiply kay 48,000. And that will yields to the future value, which is equivalent to 68,707.46 pesos. So, after 4 years, magbabayad si Ruby ng 68,707.46. And that's how we compute future value of compound interest, given that we are compounding more than once a year. Okay po? And there are cases, katulad nung sa last video, na hinahanap naman natin ay present value. So, paghahanapin natin yung present value, ganun lang din po. We just what? We just have to manipulate the formula. So, kung meron tayong formula in getting the future value of as a compound interest, F equals P times 1 plus J raised to N. Paghahanapin lang natin yung present value or yung principal, we just what? We just divide both sides by 1 plus J raised to N para P lang yung matira sa kabila. Okay, so we have P equals F over 1 plus J raised to N. So medyo meron siyang kamukha din dun sa last video, di ba? That is P equals F over 1 plus R raised to T. Kasi dito lang din talaga siya nanggaling. Okay? So let us have example. So raised to N. So let us have example. Okay, so what is the present value of 85,000 pesos due in 9 years if money is worth 8% compounded semi-annually? Okay, so dun sa problem, we are looking for the present value. Given that the present value of 85,000 pesos due in 9 years. So after 9 years daw, meron kang 85,000. So that would be our future value or the maturity value, which is 85,000. And then our time is 9 years. If the money is worth 8% compounded semi-annually. So yung 8% natin is our nominal rate. Okay, so our nominal rate is 8% and our frequency of conversion, sabi dyan, semi-annually. So we have semi-annually. So which is equivalent to 2 kasi kapag hinati natin yung taon sa dalawa, we have 2. Okay? So we may now proceed in computing for the principal. We have P equals F over 1 plus J raised to N. Pero, hahanapin muna natin si J at saka si N. So, J is equal to our nominal rate over the frequency of conversion. So, we have our nominal rate. So, kapag kinonvert natin ito into decimal, we have 1, 2. That is equivalent to 0.08. So, we have 0.08 over semi-annual, that is 2. And simplifying this, using our calculator, we have 0.08 divided by 2. That would be 0.04. So our J is 0.04. Next is the total number of conversion periods, that is N. So we have N equals MT, to which our MI, semi-annual, we have 2 times the time, which is 9 years. So we have 2 times 9, that would be 18. So our N would be 18. So we may now proceed in the computation of our present value. So we have P equals, our future value is 85,000 over 1 plus, what is our J? 0.04, and our N is 18. And then simplifying this, we have 85,000 over 1.04 raised to 18. Okay, so pwede naman na po natin siyang idiretso sa ating calculator para hindi na po tayo malito. So that would be what? That would be 85,000 divided by 1.04 raised to 18. Okay, so we have this. So we'll be having the principal, which is equivalent to 41,958 pesos and 39 centavos. Okay, so our principal would be 41,958.39. So yun po yung ating magiging present value. Okay, so let us have another example para mas ma-practice tayo. Okay, so let us have this. Suppose we have Marilyn borrowed a certain amount at 7.5% compounded quarterly. So si 7.5%, sino nga ulit siya? Siya po yung ating magiging nominal rate. Okay? So 7.5% compounded quarterly. So yung M natin, sabi dyan, quarterly, which is equivalent to 4. And then, sabi dyan, after 4 years, so our time would be 4. She paid an amount of 150,000. So, if she paid an amount, ibig sabihin yun yung ating F. or future value, we have 150,000 pesos. So, how much did she borrow? So, ang hinahanap natin is our present value. Okay? So, in getting the present value, again, we will use the formula P equals F over 1 plus J raised to N. Okay? So, hindi pa natin alam kung ano ang value ni J at the end. So, yun muna yung hanapin natin. So, J is equal to our nominal rate over the frequency of conversion. So, our nominal rate is what? Our nominal rate is 7.5%, to which kapag kinonvert natin siya into decimal, we have here 1, 2. So, we have 0.075. So, we have 0.075 over frequency of conversion. We have 4. We have to divide it by 4. So, the value of J would be equivalent to, so we have 0.075 divided by 4. That would be 0.01875. So this would be the value of our J. And then the value of N, will be obtained by multiplying the frequency of conversion times the time. Quarterly tayo, so we have 4 times the time, which is again 4. So, the total number of conversion periods would be 16. Okay po? So, with these values, we can now compute for the present value. So, we have P equals our future value, sabi sa problem, 150,000 divided by 1 plus our J is 0.01875 raised to our N is 16. We first simplify this one. We have P equals 150,000 over 1.01875 raised to 60. And then, pwede naman natin munang i-simplify ito bago tayo pumunta sa division. Pero pwede naman natin siyang idiretso sa calculator. So, we have 150,000 pesos divided by 1.01875 raised to 16. So, that is raised to 16. And that will yield to 111,431.84 pesos. So, si Marilyn po ay nanghiram ng magkano? That is 111,431.84 pesos. So, that's how we compute for the present value of a compound interest given that we are compounding more than once a year.